Hi everyone, this is Darren. Good to see and speak to you, all of you again. It's just another few more days to Christmas, and I received a lot of emails last week and some with personal messages, and I felt that this is quite interesting because not only has a community grown, but the people who wanted to learn more about real estate has also risen, right? And they all wanted to just have been asking me a few things. Number one, how do we change EC unit into a dual key for those newer ECs that didn't have a dual key at the time, right? And another person also asked me the same thing after I have assisted that person to recreate their floor plan from a 4 bedroom condominium to a dual key unit. All right, and I realized that a lot of them are asking me questions just because they were curious about it, but they were not really sure why they wanted to do that in the first place and whether it makes sense and if that was the best move for them during that point of their life. All right, and I wanted to answer this question by giving you a bit of foundation before I give some advices. All right, I got this story that I had actually, and I came up with this thing that I was training with my guys. It's called the Four Seasons. So I got these Four Seasons while actually reading a story to my two girls, right? And it's all about the ant and the grasshopper. So basically, this whole story is about how the grasshopper was just enjoying life, okay, from spring, summer, and autumn, while the ant was busy working and collecting food during these 3 seasons. And at the end, during winter, the grasshopper was miserable, he had no food, whereas the ant was enjoying. And of course, in this story, the grasshopper went to the ant for help and said, "Can you please spare me find some food?" Right? And the ant welcomed the grasshopper into his home. Okay, so how do I break this up into these 4 seasons for Singaporeans and PRs in Singapore, right? I just felt that it could be this way. For spring, for me, I'll classify it to be maybe in the region of age 1 to 25. All right. So in this period of time, I would feel that everyone is in their spring season, right? Where it is the most beautiful, it's fantastic, it is a stress-free time for everyone. Everyone's enjoying. And in these 25 years, what are you actually doing? You're actually getting educated, you're going to school, you're learning as much as you can because you're getting ready to get whatever knowledge you can and skills to move on into the real world, right? So this is what happens during spring for majority of us. All right, so what happens during summer? Summer, I'll classify the age as 26 to 49. All right, why 26 to 49? Because this is the age whereby it's massive. It is the most productive time of most of Singaporeans and human beings in general. All right, so in summer, whatever that you have learned before, you finally put them into practice. All right, and see whether it works for you or not. All right, and it is also during this period of time that you can take up risks. You can actually enter using bold moves. All right, things that are riskier because in this period of time you are working and accumulating your wealth, right? You are maximizing your leverage, and because it's also during this period you're able to get the best loan terms, and also your TDSR will be the best. All right, so this is a time whereby people should be moving into accumulation of wealth. On the other hand, many other people will actually have chosen to spend a lot on really stupid items such as Rolexes, expensive trips, $1,000 meals just to impress that girl or that guy. All right, okay, but in many cases they put in money into the wrong property. Moving on, after 49 will be autumn. Autumn is aged between 50 to 59. All right, there's a smart person with the smart money is now looking to consolidate all his assets that he accumulated in summer. All right, and transform these assets into cash flow. On the other hand, the other person who has realized now it is now too late and too risky because loans are getting smaller because of the age, they cannot borrow a lot of money. All right, TDSR is still there, and guess what? The monthly payment for installment now for a property that they now finally decided to invest had became too expensive. All right, the risk become too much, and what happens? They finally realize that they have spent too much money before, and now they will need to start to save money because there's not much money in their bank accounts. Okay, so what happens next? After 59, I'll call that winter. Okay, so winter now, for the smart person, what happens is that he has now moved most of his money and convert them into cash flow. All right, and they are not reliant on their CPF RA account to retire. Right, so this age will be from 60 all the way to however long you can live. Okay, all right, and the best part about this particular person or couple is that because now it's winter, but because of the plans that they've done early during summer when they're 26 to 49, in winter it is as if they're reliving spring. No stress, enjoying their lives with enough cash flow to sustain their living expenses. Okay, on the other hand, the person who has spent money and did the wrong investments or didn't even invest the money in the earlier periods of their life start to suffer in the cold, right? And because of that, they start to get grumpy. They're not enough to spend. All right, they start to complain about government and CPF that have cheated their money. And worst case scenario, now they downgrade to a smaller house hoping to cash some money, but they realize it is so little because inflation have shot up and they're just trying to get by, but it's not enough. It's difficult. The worst thing that could ever happen to them is that they started to demand for allowance for their children and get into disagreement with children because they have not enough money for themselves. To sum up, at every stage of your life, right, either if you are in summer, autumn, or winter, are all three different, or rather different strategies that you actually want to work on in that period of life. So back to my story, the people who are asking me to convert into cash flow, right, for their EC, doesn't really fully understood the meaning why I actually asked them to do that. Okay, if you want to move into cash flow, I think that's really great. Okay, one thing you can do is that if you're already reaching your consolidation period of your life, whereby you're already in your 50s to 49, 50 to 59 years old, you can move your properties into cash generating properties. What do I mean by that? You do not need to buy a dual key property, okay, to enjoy a dual key rental income. You follow me so far? Okay, and doesn't mean that you go out there and buy any dual key property and convert it on your own, right? Because that's not how you're gonna do it. You, at that age, you want to move into a freehold property. Okay, at the earlier age during summer, you do not want to buy a freehold property because you're looking for capital returns, right? Versus a person in autumn will go for a freehold, dual key property, convert it to a dual key, and at times even a triple key property. Okay, why freehold is very simple, because this asset can then now be generated to the next generation. You do not want to buy a leasehold at a time because you're going to cause issues and problems to your next generation when you want to pass this down to them and they find that it's very difficult for them to sell. Okay, so I hope you do enjoy this. This is basically how I think for myself, and I also give the same advice to individuals or families on how they can plan their finances. I hope this helps you, and see you next week.